So we definitely had some more ups and downs. It's been fun overall, but there have been a couple things going on that haven't been fantastic. But for now, we're still on the road, we're still traveling, still having fun, and it's been an adventure. So
Hi, I'm Kim Tolson and I'm the Traveling Therapist. It's my passion to teach therapists how to navigate online private practices and multiple income streams so they can travel the world. I'm a digital nomad with a virtual insurance-based private therapy practice and a multi-six-figure coaching business. I'm obsessed with entrepreneurship and developing tools that can help therapists live an adventurous lifestyle. In this podcast, I will discuss my journey as a digital nomad. I'll chat with other traveling therapists and help you navigate the complexities of running an online insurance-based practice. I'm so glad to have you with me on this journey. So, your practice is all online. You love to travel. Now what? I'm so excited to announce the Traveling Therapist course waitlist is open for signups. I've put together a comprehensive course showing you how to travel the world, fund your traveling obsession, and still see your clients. In this course, you'll learn from actual traveling therapists that are already making this lifestyle a reality. This bundle course includes 20 plus trainings from therapists that are already doing it. Myself, developing multiple income streams to fund your traveling obsession, Patrick Casale, how to take 1 week off every single month, Amber Lyda, how to have an online therapy practice and travel the world. She's the expert in this. Lisa Lovelace, how to run an online group practice and work from anywhere. Janine Wolf, seeking peer support while you're on the road. Megan Gunnell, how to scale your practice up to earn more income so you can do more traveling and enjoy the places you're actually visiting. Jenny Schottmiller, business deductions while you're traveling. Cindy Gonzowski, how to manage different relationship styles while you're traveling. Jen Hyatt's talking about how to navigate time zones and stay sane. She was actually navigating, I think, 3 or 4 time zones at the same time at one point. She's an expert in this. So there's so many trainings, I can't even list them all here, but I hope you'll hop on the wait list. People that are signed up as early birds on the wait list are going to get access to prizes and bonuses. So I hope you'll hop on the list. The link is in the show notes.
hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Traveling Therapist Podcast. So today I wanted to record the second month of our digital nomad journey. I wanted to share with you how it's been going. So we've definitely had some more ups and downs. It's been fun overall, but there have been a couple things going on that haven't been fantastic. So I just want to pick up from where I left off. We were talking about leaving Panama City Beach, Florida, and driving to Galveston. That was where we were left off last time. So we left there, and it turned out it was about a 10-hour drive, which, we kind of decided after that we were just going to try to plan these drives to our new places over longer periods of time, because it's just like we're really crunching 12-hour days, and then we get there, we're exhausted, and it kind of takes the fun out of it, because we're grumpy, we're tired, we get to a new place, and we're annoyed by everything. We can't figure out where's the bathroom, where's the bed, where's the temperature, all that stuff. So we need to slow it down a little bit and plan more time in between places. That's one thing we've really noticed. So just a little side note there, if you're planning on doing anything like that, maybe consider spending a little more time between places so you have an easier drive and you can even enjoy your drive a little bit more instead of just hustling through like we've been doing. So we got to Galveston. We chose Galveston because it was on the Gulf Coast and we'd never been there, and it was a good halfway point between Florida and Arizona, because we know that we're going to be in Arizona next month. So we picked that, and I kind of wish we hadn't. Don't want to offend anybody from Galveston or anything, but it definitely wasn't our favorite place. We thought somewhere on the Gulf Coast would probably have just pretty blue water, because most everywhere we've been on the Gulf Coast has been like that. But it turns out Galveston is not like that. The water is pretty muddy. We found out that there's a current that goes from the Mississippi River into Galveston, and it brings all the mud from the Mississippi River down there. So that, is kind of what happened. And when we got there, we were like, oh, okay, we're here for a month and the water isn't pretty like we thought. So from now on, I think we're going to check like some Google images of places just to make sure The water's nice and pretty and blue because, that's really what we love in a beach and what we loved in South Florida when we lived there. So, needless to say, Galveston, the water's not great, but it's a cute town. It's got, it's like an island and there's all kinds of restaurants and it's sort of like, it's like an old beach town. And there's something called the seawall where you can just kind of walk around the whole island and see the water and just really explore the town. The Airbnb we stayed in had bikes, so we got to ride our bikes all over the place. That was really fun. So, I mean, I think it would be good to go there and visit for like a weekend or something, but staying for a month, it proved to be too long for us to be there. So we chose a month because I was going to Costa Rica for a week during this last month by myself. I was going for a therapist retreat with the Thriving Therapists Facebook group, Megan Gunnell. I went and did that. I'll talk about that in a little bit. It was wonderful. But we chose to stay put for a month because Kim was going to be by himself and we just wanted to have like a comfortable place and not be all over the place while I was gone. But it turned out it didn't work out like that. So I'll give you a little update on the Airbnb. So we rented this Airbnb for a month. The people were super nice. The listing said it was the entire place. And then after they sent like the instructions, it read more like, oh, actually this is a duplex. And we were like, oh God. Just a little backstory with me, like neighbor sounds or construction sounds. I almost have like PTSD from it. And, I don't use that word lightly, but now when I hear any kind of construction or anything, it kind of like brings up a lot of anxiety because the last house I owned was actually a condo and it turned out they started a huge construction project like right after I bought it. I was kind of like locked in and it was really a nightmare with how loud it was. It was totally unexpected that it was going to be that loud. So it interrupted my sessions. It went on all day. It was just super loud. And then we moved to Florida and the place we rented, they had mentioned a construction project, but we did not realize it was a complete overhaul of the entire building. So we moved in a week before COVID and the construction started right around then when we moved in and it did not stop the entire 2 years we were there. So every day it was, I say PTSD, but every day you woke up, you didn't know, is it going to be too loud to work? Am I going to have to find somewhere else to be? There was no like heads up, like this might be a noisy day for your particular apartment. So while it was beautiful and we loved being there in Hollywood right on the water, there was a lot of stress with it too. One, we were like in lockdown because of COVID, and two, the construction didn't stop. The building said they weren't going to stop it during COVID. So anyway, needless to say, I'm really super sensitive to noise. So we get this Airbnb listing back, and then it turns out it's not the entire place. It's actually a shared residence. It's like a duplex. So nobody was renting it the first week that we were there, that duplex above us, the other apartment. And it seemed fine. We were really enjoying ourselves. The people were very nice. And then about 30 minutes before we were leaving for Ken to take me to the airport to Costa Rica, here comes renters for 9 days that proceed upstairs. And it's so loud. You can hear everything they're saying. You can make out the words. I could hear the cell phones ringing. I could hear full conversations. I could hear them laughing, walking. It was a nightmare. I was like, oh my God. And I'm already stressed because I've got to get, I want to get to Houston. We had dinner reservations. I was getting up early for the airport. Ken's freaking out. He's like, there's no way I'm staying here with this noise because he also has been dealing with this construction for the last like 4 years. So we call the people and we say, we're not staying here. You never mentioned you could hear the neighbors so clearly. And we're just not doing it. And it was true. The listing did not mention that you could literally hear every word. And of course, they're not going to put that in the listing. And the woman acted like she'd never heard a sound before. She said she lived there for 2 years. She'd never heard the upstairs people, which was, it just couldn't be true. So anyway, we just asked for our money back and she said, no, we're not going to do that. We'll block the duplex off for the last 2 weeks you're here. It's spring break anyway, and nobody's even going to rent it. It's not a big deal. We'll just block it off and then you guys can come back after your Costa Rica trip and stay for the remaining month that you've booked. And, we talked about it and we were like, okay, well, that's what you want to do. So we did that. We packed up the car really quickly because like I said, we had to get to Houston. And, Ken stayed in the hotel that I had booked. He stayed with me and he extended it for a couple of nights. And it turns out that place was really loud. So, it was just stressful. He wrote a review and later the hotel said, you can ask for a quiet room, right? And which I had no idea about. And maybe that's a good tip for you guys. If you're ever in a loud hotel or you're worried about noise, apparently there are quiet rooms you can request and book in these places. So just a little tip as a side note to the story I'm telling. Anyway, okay, so I'll talk about Costa Rica in a minute, but once we got back from Costa Rica, we went back to the Airbnb, and like the second night we're there, a leak happens under the kitchen sink. So I'm cooking dinner, and all of a sudden my sock feet are wet. I'm like, oh my God. So of course, being a previous homeowner, the people I'm guessing want to know this immediately. So I message them and say there's a leak and it's pretty bad and I just wanted you to know and blah, blah, blah. Okay, and they were very polite again. The next day they sent a plumber out. They took care of it. No big deal. So we thought everything was fine. And then, the way Airbnb works is after you leave, they prompt you to leave a review for the people, and then the people also leave you a review. But you can't see each other's reviews unless you leave a review. So until you leave a review. So I left a review. About an hour later, here comes a scathing review from these people about that we forced them to shut down their second floor duplex and forego rent for a month. And it was really stressful for them, that we demanded a week's back of rent, which we did demand that back. And then she said when we told her about the leak that we were being accusatory because we said there was a bowl already under the sink catching water, which, basically when I said that, I was just asking, like, do you want me to just keep collecting the water or do you want to send somebody over to fix this? So anyway, it was a scathing review, which totally shocked me. I did not see that coming. I left her a very nice review, very polite. I didn't say anything about the noise. Maybe I should have. Anyway, so that totally took me off guard. And once we got that review back, I just kind of went into like this like shame spiral. I don't know. You guys being therapists, you probably understand this, but it's like, I grew up in a shame-based home, with a mother that had a mental illness, substance abuse problem. We had all kinds of stuff in the family. So it was very a shame-based system. So anytime something like this happens, I immediately go to like, I'm bad or I did something wrong. And then I just start this shame spiral spinning thing. And basically I've been in that for like 2 days because of this terrible review this woman left, basically saying we were bad people. And now it's public on my Airbnb profile, and it might affect future rentals or the ability to rent in the future. And just the whole thing was just terribly upsetting for me. And I guess I'm sharing this story just to say, like, I guess I learned a lesson. Like, if you complain in these Airbnbs, I think what's happening is people are preemptively leaving reviews about what happened because they're afraid that we're going to leave them a bad review. So it's like, you know, so they're just like covering their ass, so to speak, CYA. But in the meantime, it's like it's unnecessary because we worked it out, and now I've got this review on my Airbnb profile. My friend Megan said, "Well, you should call your Airbnb and complain," and I'm like, "Well, maybe," but anyway, I don't know. So all that to say, I think if we have a complaint in the future, I'm going to try to communicate better with them and say, "Look, I'm not going to leave you a bad review. Please don't leave me one." But anyway, so I just wanted to share that experience. Other than that, Galveston was fun. I don't think we'd go back, but it was a fun little town to check out if you're going through and you want to check out it's historic. Apparently there was a huge hurricane in I think it was 1901 that destroyed the whole town. Like everybody on the island drowned and died. So there's all this history. There's like ghost tours. There's a lot of fun stuff to do there. So I don't want to really badmouth Galveston too much. Just wanted to share our experience with it and say we probably won't go back there again. And we're thinking, maybe a month in these places is a little long. So we're still trying to find our sweet spot between, how long should we stay in each town? And we're thinking maybe 2 weeks or 2 to 3 weeks is probably the length of stay we're going to do for most places from now on. Okay, so all that, I just wanted to share that with you guys. And because of this, we have a new checklist for Airbnbs. We're going to just try to avoid duplexes altogether, anywhere that there could be a lot of noise coming through the walls or above us. And if we do have to rent a duplex, we're going to make sure it's on the top floor, and really try to be super careful about that so we don't run into that problem again. So we are learning from this, at least. We're also going to really scrutinize the pictures. We're going to see if there's multiple entries. Even though it says entire residence, it doesn't always mean that. It still could be a duplex. So we learned that lesson the hard way. We're going to read the descriptions really thoroughly. We're going to make sure they have a washer and dryer. Place did not have a washer and dryer. And we were kind of like, oh, it's not a big deal. But when you're there for a month, it does get a little annoying because you have to go and wash your clothes. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But anyway, so that's what we're looking at right now with the Airbnbs. I hope this incident doesn't mess up my ability to rent Airbnbs, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so what else? Oh, so the laundry. So when we were in Galveston, like I said, they did not have a washer and dryer, but we found these cool places. Y'all might have already heard of them. They're called washaterias. I've never heard of them. It's a new one on me, but it's basically you take your clothes to these places and you just drop them off in garbage bags and they wash and fold them, wash, dry, and fold them for you. So they're called washaterias. It was like $1.25 per pound. You get them back. They're like all nice and pretty and clean. They smell great. And then, they're folded for you. So you just take them back and it's all done for you. And it was really convenient. Drop them off and about an hour or two later, they call and tell you it's ready and you come pick it up. So we enjoyed finding the washaterias. That's a little tip if you're traveling around and don't have a washer and dryer where you're staying. Let's see, a little bit more about Galveston. The food there was amazing. It was really cheap compared to like the prices we paid in Miami. It was delicious. Everything was good. I don't think we had a bad meal, which was different than other places we've been. Like one time we were in New Jersey for a week and the food just was not great. It was really just not great where we stayed. We just weren't impressed. But the food in Texas, I guess, is just really good. We discovered Landry's, the Landry's chains. I don't know if you guys know about Landry's, but it's like all these different like restaurants in this one conglomerate. So two places we ate a lot was this place called Willie G's in Galveston, where they had oysters, these huge oysters. I think they were right out of the Galveston Bay for $1.50 an oyster. Raw oysters. We love to have those with our meals. And in different sea towns, we like to try the different types. So we ate there at Willie G's, and we also ate at Saltgrass, which apparently is a chain all over Texas and part of this Landry's conglomerate. But they have a porterhouse there for $38, and we split it, and it was so good. I think we ate that porterhouse probably like 4 times while we were in Galveston. It was so good. $38 for porterhouse. You can't beat it. We also ate at this place called Miller's Seawall Grill. It was right on the seawall in Galveston, and they had the best Gouda cheese shrimp and grits. I'm not even supposed to eat cheese, but I ate it anyway. And all these places were gluten-free. I know you guys have probably heard me talk about having celiac disease and having to be totally gluten-free when I eat anywhere. So these places, the Landry's chains in particular, are excellent with the gluten-free. They've got it marked on the menu. They're very knowledgeable. I trusted all the food from these places. I did not get sick, which was amazing. So, apparently Landry's is a big thing a lot of people already know about. I didn't, but there's this bonus points card you can get. It's a Landry's something card, select dining card, I think is what it's called. And apparently these Landry's are owned by the billionaire Tillman Fertitta. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he's like an American billionaire. He owns Landry's, he owns the Houston Rockets, and I guess this Landry's conglomerate has over 600 restaurants, hotels, casinos, and it's all over the United States. So get the bonus card. You can accumulate points and you get like $25 or $50 off your meal. It really saved us some money once we did it. So I would recommend that if you're traveling in any of those 35 states that have Landry's locations. No, I'm not a paid sponsor. Just wanted to share that because I love a deal. So anyway, let's see. Let me back up. So the week I was gone in Costa Rica, I just want to tell you a little bit about that. As a traveling therapist, I went to Costa Rica for a therapist retreat that was run by Megan Gunnell. She also runs the Thriving Therapist Facebook group. So there were 18 of us therapists there. I cannot say enough about this experience. If you get the chance to go on a retreat like this, I know they're all over Facebook these days, but it was unbelievable. It was so amazing. We woke up every morning. We did yoga on the yoga deck. We had a yoga instructor there. We had 3 like plant-based meals every single day. They were really great about the gluten-free thing. They took it super seriously. What are some of the things we did? We did mandala exercises. I've never done that. A guided meditation, and then we drew mandalas and Megan interpreted them for us. It was so cool. We had a woman there that was like an expert in human design. She was one of the participants, but turns out she knows everything about human design. So she was doing all our human design charts. That was really cool. What else did we do? We did some meditations around finding your spirit animals, which I've never done that before. Apparently my spirit animal is like one of those big African elephants with huge ears. I did a guided meditation one of the days where I was riding this elephant up this waterfall, and it was just amazing. It was such a cool experience. We had a fire pit one night where we sat around the fire pit and just talked about, things we wanted to let go of. Some of it was my shame-based family system stuff. So we worked on that. We did go to the beach a couple times. Really fun, really great group of women. Just love connecting with them. I just can't say enough about it. So if you get the opportunity to do something like that, I really recommend it. I think Megan's already taking signups for next year if anybody's interested. I'll put her website in the show notes in case you want to look it up. But it was amazing. So I would definitely recommend doing something like that if you get the chance. What else? Oh, I was going to tell you about the place a little bit, a little funny story. So we stayed in this place called the Aki Retreat Center. It was so gorgeous. You might have seen me posting pictures on Facebook if you're in the Traveling Therapist Facebook group. But we were right in the middle of the jungle, so you could see the ocean off in the distance, but we were kind of up in the mountains in the jungle, and all you could hear was like these jungle sounds all around you. It was amazing. And there were monkeys there. So amongst the sounds were these monkey sounds, like constantly going on, but you really didn't see them that much. But one morning we did see them. So I'm out there with my camera, recording them like up in the trees. I'm underneath and I'm recording them like, oh my gosh, these beautiful monkeys. And then all of a sudden one of them shits right on my eye. So yes, the monkey like pooped right in my eye. And, after I was like, wait a second, what just happened? I realized it. And then after I got a good laugh about it, I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is some kind of good luck thing I don't know about. If a monkey shits in your eye, you've got a year of wealth or something. So that's what I'm hoping for. That's just a little funny story, but it was cool. Just we basically were living in the jungle. We lived in these rooms. It was like almost like a screened in porch with beds in them and a really cool shower, but it was all open air, really. So you could hear every sound in the jungle. And you woke up at the crack of dawn because the jungle started making noises and it was time to get up. There was no like ignoring that. So all that to say, I just wanted to share that journey, that adventure with you guys, and highly recommend taking a retreat, particularly with Megan, because the way she put this thing together was just fantastic. So I would recommend that. See, talk about internet in Costa Rica. I just wanted to touch on that for a second. So yeah, the internet in Costa Rica. So I have two backups I try to take with me wherever I go. I've got a Google Fi, which is something you could turn on and off, and it's supposedly 5G in any country, and it's supposed to be like a great backup system. And then I have my Straight Talk wireless phone, which I've had for a while because it was the only phone that would work, the only cell carrier that would work right next to the ocean in Hollywood, Florida. I don't know why, but it was a Straight Talk wireless. My AT&T phone would not hold a call. So right when we moved there, I had to switch carriers. But Straight Talk Wireless does not have an international plan. So we had to, I took my Straight Talk Wireless, but it didn't work internationally unless I was on Wi-Fi. So I had this Google Fi as a backup. It worked at the airport, thank God, because when I got there, I had to communicate with Megan and find her at this hotel she was staying in so we could ride together to the lodge, which was 2 hours away in this van on these bumpy roads. But that's a whole nother story. Let's just say I got car sick and I had to pull over and I basically vomited and it was terrible. But anyway, I used Dramamine after that and on the way back to the airport. Okay. So little tip, if you're going to Costa Rica, the roads are bumpy and you probably need Dramamine. But anyway, so just wanted to share that once I got there, the Google Fi worked, but once I got to the lodge, it did not work. So I had no way to communicate other than getting on the Wi-Fi at the lodge, which did work pretty well, surprisingly, and communicating that way, but I couldn't make phone calls out of the country. And if anybody tried to call me, I wasn't getting their call. So I had to rely on the other people around me and the Wi-Fi. So just a little note to say Google Fi has worked well. It worked well for me in Mexico, but it did not work so great in Costa Rica for me. So now I'm researching new options for Wi-Fi. And anyway, I think that is about it. We're already talking about maybe in October, settling down for about 6 months back in South Florida because the weather will be great, and maybe just staying, West Palm Beach or Boca Raton, somewhere like that, and or Jupiter. We were looking there too, and maybe just getting an apartment for 6 months because we hate the cold weather. There aren't that many places to go in the United States South that stays warm during the winter other than Florida. So I think we're going to maybe do 6 months, October to April in South Florida, and then pick this digital nomad thing back up again next year. But for now, we're still on the road. We're still traveling. still having fun. And, it's been an adventure. So I hope my horrible stories don't scare you off from doing it because we really have had a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed seeing all these different places. We're headed to Arizona after this. Right now, we actually flew to Florida for a week to see Ken's daughter who lives in South Florida. So right now we're in Lake Worth, Florida, visiting her. We're staying in a really cute Airbnb. If you actually watched the video of this, you'd see that I'm in a hammock outside with palm trees behind me. So this is fun. We're flying back on Saturday, and then we're driving to Phoenix from Houston. We left our car in Houston. So that is the plan as of right now. So I hope you've enjoyed my update, and I will see you guys soon with another update. Take care.
Thank you so much for listening to the Traveling Therapist podcast. For show notes, links, and downloads, head over to thetravelingtherapist.com, where you'll be able to learn more about my journey, the courses I've created for you, and other exciting resources to make your dreams become a reality. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with your traveling therapist friends, subscribe to the podcast, and if you loved this episode, please leave a review.